right, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now with the whole coronavirus thing going on, and hopefully a lot of you are at home or in a safe place and just doing our part to help the spread of this thing. So before I get going here, I'm going to introduce you to a couple people. That is my smiling mug you see up on the screen. I am the founder and CEO of Diesel Laptops. A couple days, it'll be our 5-year anniversary since I quit my job and started this thing in a garage and dining room table. So today, though, you're not going to be hearing much from me. You are going to be hearing a lot from some of our other employees here at Diesel Laptops. So the gentleman sitting to my left of me here is Nate Knorr. I had the privilege of working with him at my last job. He has been in the parts industry for so long, I think he's forgot more than I've ever known about the whole truck parts industry. He's a very talented person when it comes to this. He's a parts guy, and he manages our data input teams and our platforms. And another guy that you'll be hearing a lot from here shortly is Jamie Irvine. Jamie, if you've never listened or heard of the Heavy Duty Parts Report podcast, highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys go find it on, pretty much anywhere podcasts are, right? So on the Apple Podcast, they're all over Android, the website, everywhere. Just Google Heavy Duty Parts Report podcast. He does a show every week about the heavy truck parts industry. He's actually our sales manager as well for Truck Parts Premium, which you'll be learning about on this webinar. And this webinar is going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit scary for us. It's our first time doing live demos actually on a webinar. So we'll be doing that here for you today. And we'll be going through pretty much everything we do here on the truck parts side and kind of give you guys a vision of where we're going with this whole thing. So if you're not familiar with Diesel Laptops, really 2013, I started the company while I worked for somebody else. We are located here in South Carolina. We have over 150 employees. What got us here is diagnostic tools, but that's not really what everybody needs. That's just one piece of the puzzle. So what we found out is to really efficiently repair a truck, you really need 4 things. We're known for our diagnostic tools. We sell everything that exists. We'll sell almost 5,000 laptop kits this year alone. We're all over the place when it comes to the diagnostic tools and hardware. The things you may not know about us is we have training, and our training classes are online and in person, and they're both about software, but more importantly, they're about actual diesel technician skills, how to properly diagnose a truck, how to do electrical, those types of things. We're in 4 cities currently. We'll be in 10 to 15 by the end of the year easily. The one that we're really focused on here today, I'll come back to in a second. So the one all the way on the other side, the blue one, is our tech support. And really, our tech support is staffed completely different than everybody else. We actually have diesel technicians and IT pros helping people fix trucks every day. But the reason you're here is about the parts information specifically. What we found out is that people really need to know what part they need to fix a truck, and they want to do it as quickly as possible. And really, they want to do it without having to call somebody. They want to do as much as they can themselves. And we've built a lot of advanced tools around that whole thing. So you'll be hearing from our experts here on what those are. So with that said, we do have a survey question up here. So I believe we have Danielle, who is remotely. She's going to open up the poll question here. And hopefully it's up on everybody's screen. You can see the question here as well. And if we'll give everyone here about a good 30 seconds or so to answer it. And then right after we get done with the polls, what you'll be finding out is we will have our parts professionals, both Jamie and Nate, both talking about some of the things that are going on here. So I see some of the questions coming across the screen. Again, we'll give it a couple more seconds. And again, while I'm kind of waiting here and filibustering a little bit, just again, really excited to get so many people involved and on the webinar with us today in these really uncertain times. So let's go ahead and close the poll and flip the results up on the screen. So I can't actually see the poll result questions, but what you can see, though, are the results on how people feel the answer to that question is. So you can see what's popular there. We're going to talk about these things here in a second. Just thought it'd be interesting to see what you, the audience, views this as. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Jamie. Jamie, do we still have you on the line?
Yes, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks, Tyler.
Awesome, Jamie. Well, go ahead. Let's start the presentation here, and let's try to spread a little knowledge.
So 63% of you said that time wasted when sourcing parts is the biggest challenge that affects you. So really, when you think about it, there's 3 ways to find parts, right? The first take your VIN number or your serial engine number, call a dealer with that VIN number, and try to get the part that you need. And there's some issues with that. One of the issues is that sometimes when they give you a part number, it's incomplete, or the part number has changed, so it's very difficult to cross. Other times, it's not necessarily the price point you want to pay. You don't want to go through the dealer and buy an OE part or even one of their aftermarket parts. You'd like to go somewhere else. The problem is that once you go to the aftermarket truck parts, and that's the world that I'm very familiar with, I've worked in it since 1998, knowledgeable parts people on the counter. You know, there's always one or two. You really hope that when you phone in, you're going to get that person, but oftentimes you don't because they're overworked. The parts aren't necessarily available. Sometimes finding aftermarket alternatives can be a challenge. And again, you always want to look at your price points. Like, are we getting the right price for the part that we're buying? And when you do have to phone in, this can sometimes you be on hold for a few minutes. This can take 15 minutes just to get a hold of someone. And so that really is those two options that you have available. And of course, the third option, which really isn't an option at all, is to try to find these parts on your own. And you can source, you can start with a Google search, and you can search lots of manufacturers' websites. There could be conflicting information. Sometimes the pictures are not accurate. And so when you try that approach, you're really not sure when you're giving the parts person the information that you even are going to get the right part the first time. And we all know that downtime is a big issue. And I think when you think about the cost of parts and you compare that to the cost of downtime, I think we all recognize that the downtime cost is the real thing that eats up our profit. And so when you do order a part, sometimes you order it, you wait 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours before a delivery truck comes. If you have to drive down to the parts store yourself, I mean, if you're just phoning, that can be an hour. But if you have to drive down to the store, sometimes that can eat up 2 hours of your day. By the time you leave the shop, you go pick things up, you find the right part, you get back to your shop, and then that part gets installed on the truck. It can be quite a delay. And so all of this is part of the pain of trying to fix a truck. And when technicians are waiting, it costs you money. That old saying, time is money, has never been more accurate than today. And so you're losing revenue, and certainly having technicians not able to work efficiently on trucks is not helping the technician shortage in any way. So the result is wasted time, wasted money. That is the solution that we've set out to try to solve on your behalf, to try to provide you with some tools that are going to be able to empower you to find the parts that you need and to be able to get those trucks repaired as efficiently and as cost-effectively as possible, and also to be able to select the right part so that you're lowering your cost per mile and not buying parts that in the end is just going to create more downtime. So we've got a few options available, and we wanted to talk to you about our entire platform. It starts with Truck Parts Cross. It goes into Truck Parts Lookup, and then you're going to hear Nate Nora talk about those two platforms, and then you're going to hear me talk about Truck Parts Premium with some great advanced features to really help you with your business development. Nate, I'd love to hear about Truck Parts Cross.
Thank you, Jamie. Welcome, guys, to the podcast. The first one I'm going to talk about is Truck Parts Cross. It is, I feel it is actually the most advanced cross out there. The reason is one reason is we take out the prefixes, we take out the suffixes. We also have a lot of VMRS codes, a lot of images, descriptions, manufacturers. So let's just roll right into it and get going on it.
Yeah, and I think the cool thing too, Nate, is the fact that it's not just a website. We have it on Android, we have it on iOS, and we have a desktop app.
Correct.
So when they're out in the field, no matter where it is, a nice, simple, free, 100% free, no charge for any of this, Truck Parts Cross. So we got a live demo set up for you here. So let's go ahead and show everyone exactly how it works. And again, for me, always the most interesting time of a live webinar when we do live demos, but let's go for it and show people how it works.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. First number I'm going to put in there is a 8600308. And I'm just going to hit the search button. Right there on that screen there, it's going to ask you, I have 4 options within the database. Which one would you like to look at? It is a Delco Remy, so we're going to click Delco Remy. Up on top, you're going to see a great image with the part number. Also, you are going to see what the make or model of the part is. You're going to see the VMRS code. Right down below that, you are going to see filter. What that does is on a manufacturer, you can actually put like Lease Neville in there. So if you put lease, it's going to filter it down to show that. One other option that we built into it is on the bottom of the screen. You will see the thumbs up, thumbs down, or you can actually put a comment in there and hit the submit button for us to actually either research the part or actually tell us if we do have a bad cross, because we do want to hear that. The other feature that I want to talk about is the favorite feature up on the top right-hand screen. You actually click the heart, and you're actually going to go to your profile and see in your favorites that part is actually within that part or within that screen there. So if you know what parts you're actually selling, you can actually hit the favorites.
So I'm going to drive home a couple points just to really make the audience, hopefully understand a little bit. So there's some other parts tools out there. You mentioned the prefixes.
Yes, sir.
Right? So there's a competing platform out there that charges a pretty good amount of money. And if I type in a ZBR 3600AX brake drum, I'm probably going to get multiple results.
Correct.
Right? So our system is smart enough. The search is smart enough. We don't put the parts in there 10 times because there's 10 different prefixes or suffixes. They're in there one time and one time only. So we have a very, very clean database. And then the other part is direct and indirect crosses.
Correct.
So the cool thing here is direct crosses are things that the world knows about. We got it from a catalog. We got it validated through other means. A manufacturer might have given it to us. So as he pulls up a part number here again, you're going to see that there's a column called direct and indirect. If you hover your mouse right over that little question symbol, it kind of talks about this, but here's what goes on in the world. You have manufacturer A, an OEM call it, and you have aftermarket manufacturer X, and they cross to that OEM. Then another aftermarket guy comes along, and they cross it also to the OEM, but they never cross to each other. Right?
Correct.
And that's the problem, is because those two are the exact same thing sitting on the shelf, and nobody ever knows to cross them to each other because no one ever built that network or that web. And I can tell you, when we first turned this on and we said, hey, system, how many indirect crosses do you want to make? It said something over 30 million. And we were like, man, surely that can't be right. 30 million additional cross-references that nobody even knows exists. And your team, and you got some experienced parts guys on your team, you got data entry people, you got a little bit of everything there. And they went through and validated about 15 million of them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So currently we show more than 15 million additional cross-references than anybody else, and there's more being validated all the time. And as you can see, we just kind of click there on the heart symbol as well to show you how it goes into your favorites, which you can easily retrieve from later. So great free platform. Check it out. We'd love getting feedback on it. I can tell you this thing too, guys. Every search you do on this platform, that doesn't come up, our team researches.
Every single day. I just want to hit on that also. Every single day, every morning, our team is in there looking at them.
Yeah.
Thanks,
so
Tyler.
So where we're at today is way farther than we were at 6 months ago, and we'll be way further ahead 6 months from now. So the more activity we get, the better the platform gets for everybody. So, all right, did we miss anything in there on Truck Parts Cross, Nate?
I don't think so.
Cool. All right, what were we heading into next?
Guys,
yeah.
Guys, just before we move off of Truck Parts Cross, it's Jamie Irvine here. I wanted to mention one thing. The mobile feature is very valuable to diesel techs in the field as well as to salespeople on the road, because when you use that mobile feature, you don't have to call into the parts counter to get them to cross parts for you. So that enables you to be more efficient and save a lot of time, and it takes the load off of the actual parts department.
Awesome. All right, Nate, I think it's your show still here going forward.
All right, we're going to change to a new platform that we actually started building called Truck Parts Lookup. What Truck Parts Lookup is we had some requests throughout the industry to actually, there was a strain within the industry that says, hey, do you need a VIN number? Do you need a serial number to actually look up the parts? At the end of the day, you do not need a VIN number. You do not need a serial number. Everybody thinks a truck is actually a snowflake. It is not. It is actually the same. 2018 Kenworth is the same 2018 Kenworth with a few different parts in it.
Yeah, they didn't make 10 different headlight assemblies or 3 different hoods or 20 different hood latches, right?
No.
There's a lot of commonality among trucks, and that's the big myth that we're trying to break people. And when people look at this platform that we're about to show you, keep in mind we're not focused on every little nut and bolt and wiring harness. We're really focused on what are the high failure parts that are failing on trucks,
Yep.
and what are people really looking for. So you'll see here in a second how we just kind of start combining technologies with these two platforms.
Correct. When we look at that, you're going to see exploded parts views. You're going to see a lot of cross-reference. We're going to get into how it communicates to truck parts cross. So let's take okay, within this screen here, we are going to show the coverage of what we are actually working on. For this year, we are working on 2010 to 2016. What we did, we took the major trucks, Kenworth International, and picked the 2 major models of them. We also have within that Cummins. We also have Volvo motors, transmissions. We got fifth wheels in there, suspensions in there. This is just kind of a graph showing what we're actually working on. We do. Our goal is to get 5 modules a month done. We do have a team of 5 individuals on my team working on truck parts lookup.
Yeah, so I think the important thing is, when people go in there, they'll see where the database is today. And if you come in here next month, you'll be blown away on how much more got added.
Yep.
And it'll be like that every month. So by the end of the year, our full expectation is to have all the major models that you see on that left-hand side there. We expect to have all of those covered in our platform by the end of 2020, which would basically give you 2010 through 2016 coverage with a bunch of bonus ones in there as well. So as we find easy ones to handle, that tends to happen. So go ahead, Nate, talk about kind of what they'll find in there for database.
All right, so as of right now, you're going to see a lot of engine coverage. We did Caterpillar, Cummins, Detroit, some light duty, Duramax. We did some Ford and some Volvo we got in there. Suspension. The Hendricksons, we did on light duty on Ford and Chevy. On the trucks, we got Kenworth, we got Freightliner. We also have a lot of international coming right behind that. In the components, on the component side of the world, the customers asked us to do a component breakdown. So rather than going in for the whole truck, we are actually going to do the component side. What are you looking for? Is it an engine sensor? Is it an air tank? And it's just going to be a faster search for you guys that is actually looking for uptime.
So, I remember when I told somebody like a year ago, like, hey, I'm going to go document every part on a Kenworth T680, and we're going to figure out how to let people look up parts without a VIN number. They told me I was crazy and it was impossible. But I guess impossibility is here today, right? So
Yep.
We're kind of changing the game on how people can look up parts. And we're going to go ahead and walk you through a live demo here.
All right, so what we're going to do when the screen changes here, the first thing you're going to look at is the screen here. What are we looking for? Today we are going to use not an Allison transmission, an Eaton transmission. So we're going to hit Eaton transmission. We're going to scroll down to one of the models.
So I think as you can see here, we have plenty of Eaton transmission models covered. Those have been relatively simple and easy compared to the truck and engine stuff.
Yes, it has. And then we're going to scroll down on the category side. What kind of part are you looking for? If you scroll all the way down, we're just going to hit the Road Ranger valve. On that there, you're going to see that image that I talked to you on. It's explodable, so you can actually see a better view of it, see what you need to actually see to get the correct parts. And then what we're going to do, we're going to jump to page 3, because this is where I want to show you actually how it communicates with Truck Parts Cross. So on the A6909 part number, if you click on that, that's going to bring you up to a screen. It's bouncing off of Truck Parts Cross, and it says, hey, what are you looking for? On the top screen, we're going to click Spicer Dana Eaton. And then right there, it's actually going to give you the crosses that are actually in there. There's 2 pages of crosses.
So I'm going to talk about this for 1 second, because this is the point I want to drive home, is you'll see on that list there that Eaton Fuller A6909 is the exact same as a Mack and Volvo number there, which is the exact same as an international fleet right number.
Yes.
Right? So what happens, and we all know this, is if someone makes a part and then an OEM rebrands it with their own part number, and you end up with 2 boxes. And I would guarantee you that those International and Mac and Volvo part numbers cost more than that genuine Eaton Fuller number, even though it is typically a genuine Eaton Fuller in the box with an International number.
Absolutely.
Right? So it happens all the time. And, beyond the ability to look at that information, you will see over on the right that participating manufacturers that are working with us, Newstar, Dorman, Diesel Forward, a bunch of those guys, Redline Emission Equipment Products, all those guys are in there. You'll see direct links to their website to learn more information. Eventually, we do want to have an e-commerce platform to allow people to buy parts through the website. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Yep.
It'll be an exciting time when that comes. So I just want to kind of hit that point that it is a very, very good database of all these crosses. And there's a lot of people here, both parts professionals, software engineers, data specialists that are really working hard to make this thing just an unbelievable database. And, one other point on there, guys, it's not just transmissions. There's complete trucks in there. There's engines in there, components. There's a lot. So I highly recommend when you get a chance to go check out the website. It's free to sign up, and you'll see what's in there, and you'll get communicated pretty clearly on the new stuff coming. So Jamie, we're going to throw it back to you because now you get to wrap it all up together on everything to do with Truck Parts Premium.
Sure, and there was 2 things I wanted to mention about Truck Parts Lookup because I get these questions all the time. Those exploded diagrams of the parts, those are original artwork by us. Those are painstakingly verified for accuracy. So people are usually worried about that. They also want to know what happens when there's a variant. And so sometimes within 1 year and one make or model, there will be a variant. And our team has done a very good job of listing out those variants and showing you with images the difference between the 2 parts. So I just wanted to mention those before we move on to Truck Parts Premium.
And Jamie, one quick thing I forgot, and my fault. There is a poll that we're supposed to do in here. So
let's do the poll.
Let's do one more poll. So the poll is open. Again, Jamie, I can't see it on my side, but I'm assuming it's coming up on your screen that you're watching the poll question. Do you want to kind of talk about the question a little bit?
Sure. So which of these features and parts management software would be most beneficial? Please select all that apply. We have a few options here, and I don't want to skew anybody's answer, so I'd like to see what you guys, as the people watching, are feeling about the platform and where you see it as being a benefit to your business. So go ahead and submit your answers, and we'll talk about Truck Parts Premium in a minute and how that can integrate into your business to give you a business development tool that is going to have a significant impact on things like cash flow. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with you.
All right, so Danielle, I think you got a lot of questions there, a lot of poll results. Why don't you go ahead and close it and show the results, which you already did. And Jamie, we'll let you take it from here, sir.
Okay, so cross-referencing hundreds or thousands of part numbers at once gets 84%. So let's talk about mass cross. Can we forward to the slide about mass cross? This is the first advanced feature in the Truck Parts paid platform. Here we are. So we all know the situation where we have a customer that has a vocational fleet. They have a mixed group of equipment. They have different trucks, heavy on and off highway equipment. And they come to us and they say, it's time for us to put our parts purchases out to bid, and here is a list of 1,000 part numbers that we'd like you to quote on. What happens? Well, you give it to a poor parts person who's going to spend the next 8 to 16 hours manually crossing one part number at a time to try to build that quote. That is a thing of the past as of today with mass cross. So if we can just move to the next slide, I'd like to show everyone how it works. If you take an Excel spreadsheet of all of those part numbers from your customer's fleet and you have the description, and you take that Excel spreadsheet and you put it in Truck Parts Premium, there's an opportunity there to cross all of those part numbers extremely quickly with this software. So you drop the file or you upload that Excel file into our program. Next slide, please. And what's going to happen is that it's going to auto-populate all of the crosses that are captured from that Excel spreadsheet. Now, sometimes part numbers are not very specific. So, for example, the digits 3122, I mean, those digits could be in 10,000 part numbers. But because we have the description, we know it's a 22-inch wiper blade. All you do is in that empty box, you start typing in the part number, and you're going to see a drop-down list of all the different parts using that part number, and you just quickly grab the description that matches. And in this case, we know it's a 22-inch wiper blade, so that matches great. Once we've done that for any of the ones where there isn't a direct cross that was auto-populated, once we've manually matched those, we've taken 8 to 16 hours of work, and we've brought it down to just a few minutes. And when everything is good, you get that purple box in the left-hand corner. It says, yes, this is good. You hit go. You're going to get a green box in the top right-hand corner, and that means the report has been submitted. It's being generated, and you're going to have something emailed to you whenever the report clears through our servers. And what you end up with is you end up with an Excel spreadsheet that has the part number that you submitted, the description that you submitted, and then it's going to list out direct crosses as well, and this is what I find so interesting. So let's just look at the highlighted example. So here we have the customer. They've got a good FleetGuard part number. They've described it as a lube filter. Our system understood that. It changed the description to a more accurate description, Cummins filtration and a FleetGuard. But notice that it also crosses to a Terex filter. Like, who would have thought that filter that goes on that truck also goes on the Terex loader that they're putting on the flatbed behind the truck? But that is the power of indirect cross. And so when you do a mass cross, not only do you get access to all of the direct crosses, you get access to these additional crosses, which is going to give you a more full appreciation of how you can service this customer in a better way. And so that is how mass cross works. It's going to save you so much time, and it's going to give you information that's going to really give you the ability to go back to your customer, and you're going to be able to do value add that is just going to be, I think it's going to blow their minds what you're going to be able to come back with. So now, again, I want to focus your attention on that same fleet that just got you to do a mass cross. And you look at, you're a salesperson, you're visiting them, you're standing in their yard, of course, when the pandemic's done. Maybe while the pandemic's on, you're looking at a video shot of the yard. And you're looking at all of their different equipment. And you see international trucks, you see Mack Volvo, you see Kenworth. When we talk about Truck Parts Lookup, we talk about the fact that up to 70% of the parts on a truck are unique, are not unique. Only about 30% of them are unique to that make. And the reason why is because these manufacturers are using the same parts manufacturers and then white labeling with their part number. So let's move ahead to the next slide and show you an interesting way to use an advanced feature to really add value to your customer. So you see Kenworths and you see Peterbilts in the yard and you see Mack and Volvos in the yard. And you want to compare what inventory do we need to actually supply this fleet in order to service those pieces of equipment so that there is no downtime. Well, you put it into the compare manufacturer feature. You put these two in, you hit the create report, and you're going to go through a similar process where you're going to get that email of a report back to you. Now, when you get that email back, it's going to show you all of the part numbers in our system that are identical between a Kenworth Peterbilt, so basically a PACCAR, or a Mack Volvo. And let's just look at that top part number, the PB670. So your fleet has a PB670 in stock. They've also been stocking a 7925-50015 filter for their Mack Volvo. And you're able to now come in and say, Mr. Customer, did you realize that those two parts are actually identical? And they're going to say, no, I'm paying a premium for this Mack Volvo filter because I thought I had to have it. And you can now say to them, no, you don't. You can actually choose now between these two parts and only stock one of them. That has a massive impact on someone's inventory when you can be able to help them reduce their inventory. You can also do this with component manufacturers, so you can analyze your own inventory internally, and this empowers you to make intelligent decisions about which line you want to stock, which line is duplicate, and which line perhaps is unnecessary.
So, Jamie, when I was a parts manager, I would have died for this because there was often times where I stocked, say, Chicago rawhide seals, but I wanted a cheaper alternative aftermarket solution available. And I literally had to go cross one part number at a time to try to figure out what crosses, what doesn't. And in this case, I could have just simply typed in the two different manufacturers, hit a button, and had my information in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, and as an aftermarket sales guy, I was always reactive to what the fleets wanted me to do. They would come to me and say, we want you to now quote on this, or we need some help with this. And I wasn't able to proactively go and work with them with their inventory. This tool allows you to do that. So in both sides of the equation, the parts people and the salespeople selling parts, this is a very powerful tool.
Yep.
And the other thing that's good is not only do you have the parts that are identical, but the report will also give you what is actually unique between these two makes of vehicles. And that's important to know because, information is valuable and you want to be able to understand where a customer actually does need to go perhaps to the Mack Volvo dealer and get the part. But why have unnecessary inventory? Let's get the 70% that they don't need on the shelf taken care of, and then that reduces how much inventory they have to have. Now that fleet is only having to think about maybe 30% of their inventory as being unique to that truck. So I'll move on to inventory analysis, and this is one step further where we're going to empower you to be able to look at your entire inventory, but also look at the inventory of your customers. And again, this is a tool for business development, for reducing the money spent to add to your cash flow, to be able to look at your inventory and say, how do we reduce inventory without sacrificing sales? So from a parts store's perspective, that's the thing you want to look at. From a fleet's perspective, how do we reduce inventory without sacrificing downtime, without adding to downtime because we're missing a part on the shelf? That's the fear of every mechanic. I don't want to run out of parts because I want to get that truck fixed and back on the road. Every sales guy is saying, I don't want to reduce my inventory because I don't want to lose a sale. So this tool is very powerful because it's going to empower people to make intelligent decisions around their inventory. And it's using the exact same technology where we start with an export of your inventory, your part number, your description. We want the manufacturer included there. If you also wanted to add in your costs, your pricing in there, that can help us to give you more information back around actual cost savings. But we take this Excel spreadsheet, we go to our system, we upload the file, we go through the process of making sure the manufacturers match. And what that's about is you might call it National Seal, we call it National Seal by Federal Mogul. So you just want to make sure that's an accurate match manufacturer. You want to go through your part numbers, make sure that, again, with that wiper blade, right, it's a very generic part number, make sure they match. When everything's good, you're going to get the green light, and literally that comes in the form of that green box. We've submitted this now, and what we get back is we get a file back that identifies every place where we have duplicate inventory. And across the spreadsheet, it tells you, so like you have your Grody 4-inch taillight, your truck light 4-inch taillight, and your UB 4-inch taillight. Now, do we want all three of those on the shelf? Maybe we do. There's reasons. Maybe we don't. One of the things that you can do is not only reduce inventory, but you can also identify, like in that situation where maybe there's good reason to have 3 light lines at our store. But maybe we're selling the Grody for $1.55, this part, and we're selling the truck light for $1.35. Why? Because we marked it up by the entire category when we received that inventory. Now you have the ability to look at inventory in a more specific part number by part number basis, and you can make margin decisions. If the Grody's going for $1.55, the truck light's going to sell for $1.55 as well. We raise our price on that a little bit, we make more margin. Now we're making more money. When it comes to inventory decisions, though, we might say, look, over time, we've got a Gabriel shock, we've got a Monroe shock, and we have a Henderson shock in stock. They all supply that same part is for the one vehicle. We don't need 3 part numbers on our shelf. We can actually reduce, maybe reduce by 2 categories, maybe only by 1. But the point is we're intelligently identifying places where we can reduce inventory, increase cash flow without sacrificing sales and without adding to downtime. Very powerful tools for your business development side, and very powerful tools to take to your customers that stock inventory and be of value to them in a way that your competitors are not going to be able to do.
So, Jamie, when we've ran this for dealers, what percent of their inventory have you found has been frozen capital, and what kind of gross margin opportunities have you seen?
Well, we've seen that it's been about 5 to 10% of inventory turns into frozen capital, which is very, very powerful. You think of a parts room. I remember one time I had a consignment order. 2 shelves. They were 2 feet wide, 4 feet long, and there was 4 shelves, and there was 2 sections of that. So, not that much shelving. And when I added up what was on that shelf, there was $30,000. So you take the average parts room, like $1 million, and you free up 5%. You're putting some significant cash back into the bank account of the business, which is fantastic. Now, on margin opportunity, Tyler, I actually don't have that number right in front of me. Do you remember it off the top of your head?
Yeah, we've seen it all over the board. It really depends on the dealership's inventory. And on truckpartspremium.com, we have some case studies that people can download that kind of go through the numbers a little bit with small inventory, big inventory. My recollection is from looking at some of those reports, it lands at about 2% or so gross margin. So when you really look at it, and by the way, Truck Parts Cross is free, Truck Parts Lookup is free, Truck Parts Premium is not. These are these last couple of features. There is a cost to it, but it ends up being something that really pays for itself very, very quickly.
And we're not even done talking about all the features that are available. The one other feature that's very interesting is the VMRS codes. Now, VMRS is a vehicle maintenance standard. It's been around for a long time. It's kind of all over the map when it comes to how fleets use it. A lot of the big fleets use it. But in essence, what it does is it allows you to categorize your products by category and subcategory in a standardized way that matches up to the way other people are using those VMRS codes. And so if you were to go through your inventory and try to add VMRS codes to it, it'd be a painstaking process, but this allows you to do it en masse. So it's very similar to the way that we did our mass cross, where we take an Excel spreadsheet it's an export of your inventory. We have your part number, description, manufacturer. We put that into the system, we upload it, again in the same way. We again match manufacturers, we match part numbers, and then when that's done, what we get back is we get back an email with a report that takes all of that inventory that you imported and has all coded it for you with VMRS codes. So if you run into a fleet that requires VMRS codes, this is a quick and easy way to bring your inventory up to date. Very powerful added feature that comes in. And, we talk about this being a paid platform. Earlier during Truck Parts Cross, we mentioned that is completely free. And our real main competitor is someone that has a subscription fee for just cross-referencing alone. Our subscription fee comes in at just under what it costs you to pay for that other guy's Truck Parts Cross platform, and you get all these added features and everything that we've shown you today, and it's coming in just under that. So we have pricing based on individual users, multi-users. We have enterprise pricing for small part stores if you have, let's say, 20 users or more. If you get up into 50 users or more, we have an unlimited enterprise pricing, and all of that pricing is designed so that it's really no cost to you, because you're going to be able to save way more money by using the advanced features of Truck Parts Premium than you'll ever spend part of our subscription. Plus, we're giving you all of these additional free apps, which are in the palm of your hand with mobile. So, this is why I left a very good job selling heavy-duty parts, because when Tyler showed me what he was doing, I just had to be a part of it.
Well, you've seen what we're doing, so I'll talk a little bit about what's coming, because to me, what we've started really is open the door to doing a lot more things. So, for example, we will soon have the ability to take an aftermarket part and actually show you customers in your market that have that part or use that part. So people ask, how do you do that? Well, you take an aftermarket part number, you cross it to an OEM part number. We already have the technology called Truck Parts Cross. Then we can say, what does that part fit? What kind of truck? Well, we already have that that technology as well through Truck Parts Lookup. And then we say, who has those trucks? Well, we have a VIN decoder and we have a VIN database, so we can tie all the pieces together. So yes, we are essentially saying we will soon have a tool where you can type in a part number, and on a map, you will see everybody around you that has those trucks. So it'll be a source for you guys to go out and get more business and know who to talk to and be a little more, instead of walking into a store and saying, hey, I want to sell you some parts, you can walk in there and say, look, I got these parts. I know you have these trucks. Here's what I think I can do for you. And it just becomes a different sales experience when you can do that. And beyond that, we have a bunch of free stuff for everybody that's been on the webinar today. And by the way, if you have any questions, please type them in. I do have a couple, or at least one here already to answer, so we'll get that one here in a second. So first of all, if you want to know anything at all about truck fault codes, just Google it, go to the app stores, anywhere, and use code WEBMAR for March, WEBMAR. You'll get 1 free year of every solutions to every fault code that exists for commercial trucks, along with wiring diagrams and step-by-step troubleshooting trees and component locators. We have a free VIN decoder, dieselvin.com, or you can get the mobile apps as well. Just search for DieselVin, and we're keeping that name until Vin Diesel decides to sue us and we have a situation there. Truck Labor Times. This is a new website we just launched. If you're involved in repairing trucks for free, you can look up several standard labor times every month. Paid users, we do charge for that. However, if you use that coupon code, you can get a free year out of us as well for there, and we'll have a full-blown estimating system on there. So with all that said, we do have some lucky winners that we are giving away. And I'm sorry, I don't remember what we're giving away. I know it's a free inventory analysis, and I think we're giving some other stuff there too. So 3 lucky winners. That would be Dan Lawson, Jeffrey Lewis, and Terrence Russell. So thank you guys for being watching the webinar. We will send you some information on that after the show. And now we're on to questions. So again, if you have any questions, type them in. I do have one, and that is, how do you enter Ford Motor Company and Motorcraft SKUs? And you know, this person's really hitting on something that is really problematic on a lot of platforms and a lot of things. And you'll see Ford numbers without any kind of dashes, spaces, or anything. You'll see some with spaces, some with dashes, some with stars in between them. And I can tell you, you can type in that Ford number any way you want in the system, and it's going to pull up the search results. We have a very good search algorithm there. Again, it's a custom-built search algorithm that we developed here at Diesel Laptops. So yes, you can type in Ford numbers all day long. Keep in mind, we are primarily focused on that medium-duty and heavy-duty collision space industry. And I will say this too, for any of you using any of our platforms, please do not use Internet Explorer. We are soon going to just turn off support for Internet Explorer. Use Chrome, use Firefox. You will be fine. Everything will work just great. I'll tell you what, Jamie, you want to talk a little bit about the pricing structure for Truck Parts Premium? We had someone kind of ask that question.
Yeah, absolutely. So a single user of Truck Parts Premium is $299 a month. Additional users after that for that same account would be an additional $149 a month per additional user. When you get up to over 20 users, you move into our first tier of enterprise level pricing, and that comes in at $3,000 a month. And then if you have more than 49 users, you're above 50 in essence, you move into our unlimited enterprise pricing, which is $5,000 a month. And we're really proud of the way that we've structured that, because we really feel that, again, it comes in at a price point that is comparable to what people are paying for just a cross-reference tool. And we are adding so much more value. So we're really excited about that, and we're really happy to be able to offer that to the marketplace at a price point that works for everyone.
Yeah, so essentially there's that one other company out there that we all know. I'd prefer not to even say their name, but they've been out there for a while. And what's happening there is we basically said, hey, if you want to just cross parts, you can do it absolutely for free on Truck Parts Cross. If you want to do much more than cross parts and these advanced tools, you can do that with Truck Parts Premium. You're just going to pay about the same price as those other guys. So, we're definitely trying to squeeze them from both sides, the free version and the premium version. So we'll see how that strategy works out. Another question here, and I can answer a couple of these. Do these applications support languages other than English and French? No, currently we're just doing English. We're not there with the French yet. I can tell you across all of our repair information, the other stuff we do too, Spanish is probably going to be the next one up for us to do everything with. But it's all on the radar. We're just not there. Can you look up Freightliner chassis and RVs? Currently, Nate, do we have Freightliner going? I know we've been doing a little bit there with one of the models.
So what we got going on with Freightliner right now would be the Cascadias and the M2s. Like we said earlier, we did a lot of research what models were actually moving the best in the industry right now, and Cascadias and M2s. Now, for Freightliners and for the chassis, we did not get into any of them. Not saying we could not, or that we're not going to. We can move into those. We just want to hit on the higher ones first.
Yeah. So they'll all come eventually. Then we have, other than the other question here, a parts locator. That was just a comment, parts locator ? So I don't think we really have like a parts locator. Well, we kind of do. So on truck parts Lookup, if you go to the website, you'll see a little box on there. Maybe Mike can even get it up on the screen here. If you go to Truck Parts Lookup, go down, see where it says Parts Search there, right below that category. Click that button, and this is a quick and dirty reverse parts search. So type A6909, and this will actually show you. Well, we probably got to refresh. Probably has to do a refresh on the page. So we'll try again with the refresh. So this will do a refresh, and it'll show you all of the parts that particular part fits. So we're working on different locators and application indexes and other things, and that should populate there in a second. So there you go. Those are all the model transmissions that actually use an A6909, and we are doing it in reverse as well. The other question, other than just comparison of OEM, can you tell us who the OEM of that parts are? So what we do, the way our database is set up, if you type a part number into Truck Parts Lookup, we will tell you who the OEM is of that part. Where it gets weird is when that OEM, like that Eaton example, sells that A6909 to Navistar, and then they put a C91 part number at the end of it. Then who's the manufacturer? Is it Eaton? Is it International? We put both part numbers in there. So we haven't really pointed out to anybody like, hey, by the way, there's really an original OEM and then a rebranded OEM beneath it. Those are things we've talked about. We really haven't dealt with super sessions super well yet. That's on our radar as well. So this is a constantly evolving thing. If any of you have been following diesel laptops, you know how fast we move and how quickly we're doing things and how much effort and energy we're putting into this. It's my belief people would rather look up their own parts, and it's my belief they would rather do that than have to call somebody or drive somewhere to do it. And we're trying to give you guys those tools to do those things. And we're also trying to make tools for people that sell parts to be able to capture more of that parts business and make their jobs easier. And at the end of the day, there's people that need parts, there's people that sell parts. We're just trying to connect the two together. So with that said, Nate, any last words, or Jamie, any last words or comments before we sign off here?
I do not, Tyler. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely awesome, Nate. Thank you for coming on here. Again, Nate, tremendous mind when it comes to truck parts. Jamie, you've been around the industry for quite a while. Did anything I missed there?
No, I just wanted that if anyone would like to reach out directly to me, my email is jirvin@diesellaptops.com. If you'd like to go into more depth of how to use these advanced tools for your business, I would be happy to do a personalized demonstration of that, and we can talk about your specific situation and be able to show you how we can solve some of those issues or create some of those opportunities for you. So I look forward to that, and please subscribe to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. We're interviewing industry subject matter experts and manufacturers all the time, trying to give value to people and explain how they can lower cost per mile for their customers.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you, Nate. Thank you for everybody watching. This will be another webinar. Stay tuned. We'll have more webinars coming up. Thank you, everyone.